Hello guys, this is Wasique and I'm presenting the group presentation regarding the Ramsay Healthcare. So we are three members. First myself Wasique, second Nithisha, and third is Rosemaria. So first we talk about Ramsay company background. So company background, Ramsay Healthcare company is the provider of healthcare in United Kingdom, Australia and Malaysia. The organization has its services in Indonesia as well. The organization was established in 1964 by Paul Ramsay. The organization has its specializations in many providing surgery, rehabilitation as well as the psychiatric care. Now, we talk about the nature of the facilities in Ramsay Healthcare. Most of the facilities of the organization cater to the day-to-day surgery procedure as well as carrying out complex surgery. They also have carved out the niche themselves in the rehabilitations. At the moment, there are more than 73 hospitals that organization is operating in Australia, the named Jewel and Mackin 2018. On the other hand, they have almost 30 hospitals in the United Kingdom. They have network acute hospital as they day procedure centers that tend to provide clinical specialties to the self-insured patients as well as the name Jewel and Mackin. In 2018, Ramsay Healthcare became the first hospital in the United Kingdom to start the program termed to Speak Up for Safety, which is self-accountable program. The idea was to make sure that the strong reporting culture with respect to healthcare is created in United Kingdom. Later on, this initiative was replicated in some of the other healthcare centers of Ramsay across the world. Now we move about the third slides. So we talk about now quality provision issue and allegation of the mismanagement. There have been some issues in the past with respect to how the quality of treatment has suffered due to mismanagement. For instance, in July 2014, about 20 patients were given an antibiotic during the course of their surgeries. After they suffered from the serious ill effects, investigations were carried out and it's observed that there was an overdose of the antibiotic that was administered to them during the surgery. The incident was termed as the serious judgment of error on their part. Now, we talk about calculation of financial ratios. So, financial ratios are taken with the help of using the numerical figures that are taken from the financial statements of the organization. These figures go on long towards making sure that numbers are being used to provide meaningful information about the business and its subsequent practice. Even though financial ratios are being used at an extensive level in all the organizations, it is important to use them with the context and compare them with the industry average year by year trend to have better insight about the financial health of the business. Thank you. So this is end of my part and the further presentation will go on with my next partner. His name is Nithisha.
Thank you, Wasique. This is Nithisha and my student ID is SKS8036. I'll be continuing with the second part of the presentation. I'll be explaining about the quick ratio. The quick ratio goes to shows the short-term liquidity position of the organization. It also measures the ability of organization with respect to how it can meet the underlying obligation. It's an important determination of the current liquidity position of the organization. The formula to calculate the quick ratio is current asset minus inventory by current liabilities. Even though there are many other financial ratios to arrange, as the name says, it's a quick ratio. It gives an insight of the easier to calculate the liquidity ratios. And we move on to asset turnover ratio. Asset turnover ratio is revenue by asset. Asset turnover ratio measures the value of the organization in terms of how it can stand to its asset basis. It indicates the efficiency through might using its asset to generate revenue. Um, it's part of the group financial ratios termed as the effective ratios. It also shows how much management practices and effectively when it comes to realizing the consideration of the business. Next we go to interpretation of the ratio. Interpretation of the ratio is one of the reasons that these ratios were selected, how they can be overall financial of the health organization. For any business, how to the manage their liquidity and their asset is the most important determination of the values. Furthermore, efficiency ratios are important due to the fact that their more effective ratios of organizations is going to be greater the likelihood they would be going to be profitable in the long run. The importance of ratios for Ramsay Healthcare company. For any health organization that is working in different countries as the expanded base of operations, it is important for them to absolutely certain that their liquidity position is going to be working out due to the case of the operations. Furthermore, there are many assets that they are being developed and used during the course of the healthcare delivery process. Ramsay Healthcare has to make sure when it comes to how much management of the asset is being done to their to show their underlying efficiency of their operation. Thank you, and the next part I would like Rosemary to continue. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rosemaria and participating to our group presentation based on Ramsay Healthcare. I'll be discussing what does ratio indicate and possible action by the company. Firstly, what does ratio indicate? At the moment, the quick ratio for Ramsay is less than 1. What is implied is that organization is not at its position to make sure that they are going to be able to dispose of their current liability, at least in short term. Some context for it is important as when it's being compared to the industry average of 0.84, it means that the overall industry trending is also reflective of its state. Coming towards the asset turnover ratio again is less than 1. What it means that the current asset that the organization at its disposal are not really going to be enough to make sure that they would be sustained operation in the near future. With the asset turnover ratio of 0.79, which is pretty close to the industry average of 0.8, they are in sync of which respect to the trending of the industry by the looks of it. Secondly, possible action by the company. Firstly, as far as the quick ratio is concerned, they are in good place, and one of the reasons that they are strong in sense of their liquidity positions. Secondly, one of the reasons is that they are more reliant on their equity, thus resulting in less liability. And lastly, with the scale at which they are working now, it is important for them to have these realizations that how they can really leverage their advantage by going through the changing in the asset mix. And that is all for our presentation, and I thank you.